Greetings, dear ones. I'm Kryon of Magnetic Service. Dear ones, there are always those who would question what's happening here. And we've said it every time we've come. We invite you to relax and suspend the belief that you were told. I want to ask you something. Do you really believe that the creator of this universe, who knows your name, is in the dark? Or do you think that that wonderful creative energy knows what's happening here? The masters of the planet all said the same thing, that inside the human being, there was the image of God. You can make whatever you want to and believe whatever you want to of that. But I want you to feel what it means. If you have the image of God in you, it means you are eternal. And this eternalness is beautiful. It doesn't carry with it punishment or reward. You simply return to that which is God. There's many layers of belief here. It's appropriate for those of free choice. Dear ones, there'll be the one who is healed today, and then sitting next to him will be somebody who complains. The reason for this is you all are on a unique path, each one. Some of you are so ready for this energy. You feel it coming. It's why you're here sitting in the chair. What's next? I feel something happening. Let's establish the sacredness of this room. Hundreds of old souls right here. What does that mean to the planet? I'm going to tell you more about that this evening. But for now, it means a collection of divine beings is in the chairs. You may question that. May not be what you were told. But can't you feel it? Oh, we have talked about this before. We have talked about Italy before. We'll do it again. Maybe even right now. But before we do, I want to invite the entourage to this place. The entourage is filled with your guides, your angels. Call them anything you want to. They're the divinity of the planet which gathers around you. Even the elementals of Gaia are here. In the city, they are here. Your partnership with nature is here. Let's agree to do something. Human being, I'm going to ask you right now to break that box of worry and concern for 7 or 8 minutes, that's all. What have you got to lose? Are you afraid God might love you too much if you do that? Do you feel it's inappropriate for you to open up? You've been in the box, some of you, for so long. Some of you say, well, I'll only go so far. What are you really afraid of? The only thing that's going to be presented here is a message of compassion and love. There is no other energy. We invite you to feel that right now. Is this a divine space or not? I want to turn to the old soul who's been in the esoterics for years. I turn to the old soul which can feel things. Do you feel it here? This is not about the man in the chair or the place where he's from. That man has stepped aside. This is a message that comes to you from the other side of the veil. Can you believe that? Is it appropriate? It's a sacred area, so we give sacred information. Dear ones, we've said it before, Italy is special. Through the ages, the center of spiritual belief for 1 billion of Earth's people has come from here. Why here? Have you ever thought about that? Is it a coincidence? Could it have come from anywhere else? Does it have anything to do with the culture? It has everything to do with Italians, and always has. Isn't it interesting that so much of the information that has been spiritual has come in this language? Is it possible this was an error? Or is there something here, all through this land, from the bottom to the top, that speaks of something that is special? And the answer is yes, it does. Yes, it does. It still does. My partner spoke of the leader called the Pope and the changes that are taking place as he slowly steers his organization into a more compassionate zone. One that's practical. One that talks about how people can love one another. How the earth can get together like it never has before. How there could be a consensus for peace. How it starts in the heart. This is a different message than you've heard in the protocol. It's changing. We turn now to the esoterics. And the esoterics are different since the shift. A whole group of you who have been here for a very long time, and I mean akashically, are starting to have an impact. Often what happens in Italy has a spiritual impact on the world. Did you ever figure that out? You have seen it now for hundreds of years. Why should it be different now? It's not about starting another organization, dear ones. It's about holding quantum energy for old souls all over the planet. Italy may be the fast track for the rest of the planet. Almost like a quantum accelerator. Have you thought of that? Why would it change now? It's always been that way. So what is it that you want to do? What is it that this culture could do? I want to set the stage. I want to pave a road for something that's going to happen 1 year from now. Where my partner is bringing me back. And I want to start it now. And we're going to give it a name. And it's going to be called the end of suffering and the beginning of self-worth. That's what the Italians can do. To get out of that teaching, perhaps, that said that spirituality must come with the partner of suffering. And that has been what has gone hand in glove, hand in hand. You've got to suffer a little. The greatest saints that you have suffered a little. Dear ones, that's not a wrong message. It's simply an older energy message. It is something that now can be rewritten and reframed. How do you feel about that? As you look at yourself in the eyes of God, let me ask you this. Are your eyes cast down to the ground? Are you in a position that is lower than God? Why don't you pray with your face to the sky? Because that's what you are. You are part of this plan. You always have been. And now it's time to lift your face to the sky and speak to that which is almighty. I've passed a very important marker, which literally changes the energy of your relationship to God. Some of you say, I can't do that. I just can't do that. I'm not really worthy to do that. I've been told who I am. I feel I've suffered in the past lives I've had. I cannot suddenly wake up and change all that. What if I told you there's help? What if I told you it comes from the creative source? Feel your worthiness to do this. And the next time that you pray, open it this way. Dear Spirit, I am worthy to speak to that which is inside me, called the image of God. God, what do you know that I should know? What about that? I would like you to have a recognition, finally, of who you might be. Dear ones, you have studied Scripture, and you know that there are areas, time frames, or dispensations of spirituality. There was the dispensation of law, when humans had a lower consciousness. There was the dispensation of love, when the Master of Love gave these things to you. And now, dear ones, since 2012, there is the dispensation of worthiness, where humanity starts to awaken and realize the spiritual box they were in is coming apart. It's enabling. It creates a human being which can do more. There are those in this group right now who may have come for a healing. Do you feel it? Why don't you just leave all these things here in this room? They're inappropriate for your magnificence. What's your worry box look like? You see, Kryon, what's a worry box? That's the box you put everything in to worry about. And then you take that box, and it's always with you. And then you decide when you're going to worry about things. Sometimes it's when you go to sleep. Sometimes it's when you drive your car. Sometimes it's right now. What if you could turn the box upside down and leave them on the floor? Well, Kryon, that's not really practical, because the items I'm worrying about are still there. Well, the items might be there, but your reaction to them can be erased, filled instead with understanding, compassion, and a knowingness. God is with me. All things are appropriate. I've got a partner in the stars, and I'm going to leave this place differently than I came. What a message. The things I'm telling you are accurate and true. There's a shift on this planet, dear Italian, and you are really part of it. The end of suffering, and the old souls are the ones who are going to do it. I've given this message like this before. I'm going to do it again, because you need to hear it. That's it for now. That's enough for you to think of for now. If you had the hearing that was esoteric, you would hear applause. A tremendous group on the other side of the veil is so pleased you're listening to this. Someone has to do this, and the old souls are the ones, and so it is. Greetings, dear ones. I'm Kryon of Magnetic Service. And so I'm going to ask you right now a question that needs to go to your core. What do you really think is happening here? And there are so many ways to interpret this situation. I know where I am. The entourage which has come in here, which we introduced to you, which has remained and will remain for the next days, is also aware. When the lights are turned off and the doors are locked, and this room seems to be empty, it is not. For there is no clock for us, and the energy is still here, and the rejoicing is still here. The love is still here. But perhaps you've come today to see a show. You're in a theater and there's a stage and there's lights and there's music. And it may soothe that part of you today which needs to be soothed. Is that what's happening today? Really? The information that's going to be presented on this stage in these next 2 days will pull upon your mind, your hearts, your emotions. There will be science. There will be potentials, possibilities. History will be shown. The ancients are here. But is that what you think? Or are you just here to hear something that is motivational? make you feel better for a little while, until you walk out of this place, get in your vehicle and leave. Well, I want to give you a choice to turn a page in the paradigm of your life. I want you to take all of this in. The chanting, the beautiful sounds of the energy of frequencies through the air. The voices, the teaching, the reflections. I'd love it to go in and change your mind about what really might be happening on the planet. There are those who wish to walk out and always find something wrong with everything. And you'll say, yeah, but. No matter what is presented today, your mind in the synapse of your brain is going, yeah, but. You've always got a retort, don't you? Somehow you're going to sit upon this and say, well, it's not my reality. The invitation is to make it your reality. Dear old soul, this planet is not predestined to clean itself up. It's not predestined to go into a higher consciousness. You pass the marker, and what you do here is up to you. There is no predestination of what you're going to do, where you're going to go. In fact, the track record is pretty poor. Yeah, but. And you'd say, well, it's never happened before. Why should it happen now? But I had a good time in Shasta. Is that you? The old soul in this place and hearing these words are the only ones who are going to change the planet. Because you're going to have to own it. You're going to have to own this philosophy that it can be changed, number one. Number two, that the ancients told you it could be changed, expected you to change it. And three, that the potentials are so high in your favor. And if you walk out of here with a yeah but, nothing's going to change on the planet. We just spent all of these minutes, these precious souls invested in energy. The theme was peace in Israel. That's the biggest yeah but. For the historians have said it is impossible. The spiritual leaders said it is impossible. The predictions were it will fly apart. And all your life, all you've seen is trouble. And if you ask an Israeli, they'll say all of their history, all they've seen is trouble. Before they had Israel, there was trouble. There's always been trouble. And now to think that you can turn a page and there won't be is impossible. But what if you could turn a page and start a new paradigm? A slow realization with a higher consciousness among Israelis, Palestinians, Iranians, and others, that you just might have a chance to create something that no one ever prophesied. The New Jerusalem, the city on the hill, that historians will look back and say, isn't that something that they actually got together? I know where I am. Dear ones, I have been with you all through humanity. I know the odds. I know it will not happen quickly. I know when it begins, there will be those who simply want to squash it and fight. I know there will be those who say we cannot be friends because history said we cannot be. I know that the synapse of the brain will often take over what the emotion of the heart knows better. And I also know that this is going to be a softer planet, and that the intuitive, the pineal, the emotions, and all of the things are starting to raise to the surface. And humanity is going to look at this situation and say, it's changing. Look. There will be organizations, mostly of young people, to start the ball rolling. They'll teach their young people. There'll come a time when there'll be 3 generations that did not teach each other who their enemies were. But instead, the potentials, history was this, and yet this is our potential. Let me ask you, American, who used to be your enemy? What great wars in this brief time you were here did you fight? And who are they today? They're not just your friends, they're your partners. You see, it is possible to rewrite history. You see? Don't count the years of hatred. Don't count the years. Yeah, but what is the new paradigm when you walk out of the building? What about yourself? What about yourself? How many yeah buts in here? I've tried this, I've tried this, I've tried this, I've tried this. And I'm supposed to turn a page today? Yes. How about that? What's wrong with that picture? Just because it hasn't happened, it never can? You'll walk out of here just like you came in. And you had a good time. And that's not why we're here, not this year. This is year 1. Literally, the potentials are in your lap. No predestination. But the potentials are high. So much is happening on this planet. With healing and science, physics, all starting to align for peace on earth, for extended life, for the joy of healing the incurable things. There is a new paradigm possible, and this is the beginning. Not tomorrow, not the next day, but it starts somewhere. And it's not in this room that it starts. It's all over the planet with like-minded, those who are feeling, don't even have this message, those who are feeling it. Watch for the impossible. Watch also for those who would object to the impossible and want it to stay the same, and watch the dynamics develop. Is it possible, dear ones, that this could be the beginning of what historians will talk about for the rest of the history of the planet? The time when the planet took upon itself to get along. That's the message. What is your reality about now? Having a good time or turning the page? And so it is.